This time the Quick Speed Shop, it's part 2 of the custom roof on the Model A Hot Rod Shop Truck. Alright, so I'm back at it, and what I'm doing now is I'm figuring out my structure and my placement. I've trimmed the back of the sheet metal of the hood back to where it's flush to the back of the cab, and I left the eyebrows hang over just a little bit because I'm going to do a little detail work there. And what I'm doing is I want to make a brace to go down the center of this because this hood's got crown this way and it also has crown this way. So I've bent up a piece of I don't know, like 1/16 wall, 3/4 inch square tubing, and that's going to be my main bow down the center. And I got it laid in here, and you can see on the back, this gap here in the back of the cab, I can make a filler piece of sheet metal to fill in this crown. And I've also picked out my piece here. Let me roll around here. It's rolling away. My piece for the bullet here on the light, I've got a piece of, what is this, 2 3/4 inch exhaust tubing, and it's going to cut down into the cab like this, and I'll cut this out like that and weld it in here, and I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch. I'm going to form a piece of 1/4 inch round rod to fill the gap between the two, and I'll weld that in there, then grind it smooth, and I'll make a nice little detailed eyebrow over the light bucket, and the light bucket will be flush on the bottom. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Where is it? Way over there, bang! Hit that to subscribe. Putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so follow along, hit the subscribe button. So the next thing I got to do is, there goes the heater, I've got this bent up. Let's pull the skin off and look and see what that's going to look like. Alright, so I got that centerpiece fitting the roof pretty nice, and I went ahead and I measured my gap here, which is 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to go ahead on this 18 gauge sheet metal, I'm going to cut out the strip, and I'm going to put it in the brake and break it up at 5/8 on the dotted line here, and leave about a 1/2 inch on the other side, and it'll make a straight 90-degree piece. And then I'm going to get the shrinker and stretcher out, and I'm going to shrink it and put a bow in this 90-degree piece I'm going to make, and then it'll lay up here. It'll fit the contour of the roof, and then I'll just mark it and I'll trim it where it overhangs on either side here. It'll be like an upside down, be like a frowny face, I guess. And then by the time you get to the other side of the bullet, the roof panel flattens out. Then this just will be all flat out here, so I can weld this directly to the cab, and then make the transition at the bullet pieces here. Okay, so I've made my piece here, a little 90-degree piece out of 18 gauge. I've also welded the support bar for the center of the roof across here. I'm going to get out the shrinker. I'm going to shrink along this edge here, which will in turn put the crown in this, like I said. So the first step is I'll put the roof skin back on, I'll get out the shrinker and stretcher and put in the shrinking jaws, and we'll do this from here. I got the shrinker jaws in it, which when you pull the lever in here and pull these dies down, it bunches the metal up. So what I want to do is squish it here, and squish it, and suck this a little bit to put a bow in it. Now it's not going to take much. Up here on the roof, you can't see the roof. It's not going to take much. I'll show you one here. You just simply put the metal in, like so. Push the jaws. It already made a little kink. I don't know if you can. It already made a little bow to that, so I don't got to do it much. And then I just got to hold it up to the roof and work it with the roof panel. So I'm just gonna not even do that much. I'm going to do a little bit here and a little bit here. This is just kind of a guess and go method. A little bit here, a little bit there. And I can see it's really got just a 4 little clicks. It's really got a sword lock in it now. I've gone a little too far already. Not a big deal. I can just work this just a little bit. Take just a little bit of this out, just by that much. I can see up here I've got a pretty good fitment now, kind of like where I want it. The piece is the right height in the center, and then I just got to bring it down here to the edges, and I've just got to mark it, and I've got to trim it along here until it gets back up into the full roof skin. So about here to there, trim it's about a 1/4 inch high because this bolt's a little high. And the same thing, I'll center this up and then trim it here. But you can see how it fills up this gap on the roof. Ow, it's sharp. Fills up the gap on the roof nicely. So when everything's welded on, then I'll just go ahead and I'll weld the seam up along here. Or I might glue this roof panel on, I'm not sure yet. I might use some panel bonding epoxy on this roof skin, weld on the edges, and then the majority of this flat area, so I don't get warpage, I might glue it down. But you can see how that filled that gap right up, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim these edge pieces off, and we can start getting it ready to tack in. Alright, bam, check this out. I'm starting to get her welded in here. I'm just using a bunch of tacks all together so I don't burn through, because some of this is 22 gauge, and then there's 1/8 inch, and this is 18 gauge, so I got a bunch of different thicknesses here. But you can see it fits the roof skin real nice here, and I trimmed it down to the top edge, so I'm just welding this up across here. But it's got the perfect the curve to match the crown and the hood here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this welded on. Where am I? There I am. I'm going to go ahead and get this welded on and ground down here nice. And bam! I haven't made any more progress. So I've been working on the chassis for the truck. If you've been watching the videos on that, I got the frame painted and I'm starting to reassemble the suspension at this time. So the roof hasn't made any more progress. But I promise in a future video here pretty soon I'll be getting back on this and we'll finish this up and put the cab back on the frame. So as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Tell your friends, hit the bell for alerts. And as always, we'll see you right here for more hot rod action at the Quick Speed Shop.